Josh D. Koscheck is an American mixed martial artist who fights at welterweight for Bellator MMA. Koscheck made his debut with the UFC on the first season of the reality television show, The Ultimate Fighter, and has fought for the company 25 times from 2005 to 2015. Background: Josh Koscheck began wrestling when he was 5 years old. He had been having a pause from sports since he was 12 but began it again when he became a teenager and became successful in collegiate wrestling, dating back to his years at Edinboro University of Pennsylvania, where he attended the university on an athletics scholarship. In 2001, during his junior season, Koscheck won all of his wrestling matches and went on to become the NCAA Division I champion in the 174 pounds weight class. In addition to being a four-time NCAA Division I All-American, Koscheck is a three-time recipient of the PSAC Wrestler of the Year award and earned the Eastern Wrestling League Achievement Award twice. Koscheck earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Edinboro University. Koscheck spent a few months coaching at Erie Cathedral Prep and 1.5 years as the assistant head wrestling coach at the University at Buffalo. Mixed martial arts career Ultimate Fighting Championship Koscheck appeared on the first season of The Ultimate Fighter as a middleweight fighter. He defeated Chris Leben via unanimous decision to advance to the semi-finals, where he was defeated by Diego Sanchez via split decision. Koscheck had his first official UFC fight on April 9, 2005, at the Ultimate Finale, where he defeated Chris Samford with a first-round KO. Koscheck followed this victory with another win at Ultimate Fight Night over UFC veteran Pete Spratt in Koscheck's debut at welterweight. Since then, Koscheck has amassed an additional 3 victories after experiencing his first career loss to Drew Fickett due to a rear naked choke. Koscheck then defeated Canadian welterweight standout Jonathan Goulet at UFC Fight Night 6 by submission due to strikes. Since 2006, Koscheck has been training at the American Kickboxing Academy, also known as, in San Jose, California, to which he accredits his vastly improved kickboxing technique. Koscheck's fight on December 13, 2006 was against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt Jeff Joslin at UFC Fight Night 7 where he won by unanimous decision. Koscheck was then scheduled to fight Diego Sanchez on April 7, 2007 at UFC 69. This was the second encounter between the two welterweight fighters. The first fight which did not count towards Koscheck's official record due to the bout being considered an exhibition match for the Ultimate Fighter television taping resulted in a split decision win for Sanchez. At the weigh-ins for the event, Sanchez shoved Koscheck during the traditional post-weigh-in stare-down. Although Sanchez continued to shout at Koscheck, no conflict ensued. In their fight, Koscheck defeated Sanchez by unanimous decision. Koscheck outstruck Sanchez throughout all 3 rounds and only shot him for a takedown once. During his post-fight interview, Koscheck repeatedly exclaimed, 19-1, in reference to Sanchez's first mixed martial arts defeat. UFC President Dana White announced a few weeks after the fight that Diego Sanchez had an undiagnosed illness before and during the fight which turned out to be a serious staph infection. On August 25, 2007, Koscheck was defeated by Georges Street Pierre at UFC 74 via unanimous decision. Street Pierre's wrestling skills were displayed during the match by out-wrestling Koscheck, scoring takedowns, stuffing Koscheck's takedown attempts and maintaining top position throughout most of the fight. There was speculation before the fight that Koscheck would outmatch Street Pierre on the ground due to his credentials, but Street Pierre was confident that he was a better wrestler and striker and was more well-versed in submissions than Koscheck. Josh made his return at UFC 82, defeating Dustin Haslett by TKO due to strikes at 124 of the second round. He won his next fight, against Chris Lytle at UFC 86, winning by unanimous decision after repeatedly taking Lytle down and cutting him badly with ground-and-pound elbows. Koscheck then agreed to step in and fight Diego Alves at UFC 90 on just 2 weeks' notice due to an injury suffered by Diego Sanchez. Koscheck lost the fight via unanimous decision. Alves landed powerful leg kicks and managed to drop Koscheck more than once during the fight. On December 10, 2008, Koscheck fought Yoshiyuki Yoshida in the main event at UFC, Fight for the Troops, and won by KO in the first round by landing two devastating straight right punches to Yoshida's head. The Japanese fighter remained on the canvas, while being tended to by commissioned doctors, and was removed from the octagon on a stretcher as a precautionary measure. He was later treated and released from a local hospital for a concussion. Koscheck received $60,000 bonus from the UFC for knockout of the night. Koscheck fought promotional newcomer Paulo Thiago at UFC 95. Koscheck was defeated by the debuting Brazilian via first-round KO. Thiago hit Koscheck squarely with a right uppercut and landed a left hook as Koscheck fell to the canvas in a stupor. After the bout was halted, Koscheck got up and argued that he was still alert and able to defend himself. Shortly after the stoppage, Koscheck was seen calmly offering his opinion of the stoppage to the referee: "Too early, just a little bit too early." Koscheck was to fight Chris Wilson at UFC 98 but was forced to withdraw after suffering a foot injury in training. He returned at UFC 103 and defeated returning veteran Frank Trigg via TKO in the first round. Koscheck was expected to face Mike Pierce on January 11, 2010, at UFC Fight Night 20, but instead went on to face Anthony Johnson on November 21, 2009, at UFC 106. On November 21, 2009, Koscheck defeated Anthony Johnson by rear naked choke at 4:47 in the second round. In the first round, Koscheck blocked a knee aimed at his head while he had two knees on the ground. Koscheck went to the ground holding his face, prompting the ref to step in and deduct a point from Johnson. Commentators accused Koscheck of faking the impact of the knee, which seemed to miss Koscheck's face on the replays. Koscheck has said in multiple interviews that he was reacting to an eye poke, not the knee. In round 2, Koscheck poked Johnson in the eye twice, leading to Johnson being given time to recover. Because of this, many fans think due to the controversy in both rounds between the fighters, it should have been declared a no contest. In his post-fight interview, he called out Dan Hardy, the #1 contender in the welterweight division. Koscheck was scheduled to rematch Paulo Thiago at UFC 109, but was forced off the card with an injury and was replaced by also known as teammate Mike Swick. Welterweight contendership, Koscheck then signed to fight Paul Daley at UFC 113 in Montreal. Though he was accused of faking another illegal knee impact similar to the Johnson fight, Koscheck used his wrestling to earn a unanimous decision victory. After the final bell and the fighters had been separated by the referee, Daley threw a punch at Koscheck, hitting him in the face. In an interview at the conclusion of the event, Dana White announced that Daley would never fight in the UFC again. White was quoted as saying, "He will never come back. I do not care if he's the best 170-pounder in the world. He's never coming back here. There's no excuse for that. You never hit a guy like that after the bell." Via Twitter, Koscheck expressed a desire to face Tito Ortiz at a catchweight after his fight with Daley, in large part because Ortiz poked fun at Mark Coleman after he was defeated at UFC 109. In 2010, Koscheck was a coach on The Ultimate Fighter Season 12. The Season 12 finale aired on December 4, 2010, with the main event consisting of two fighters from Team Georges St. Pierre. Koscheck faced Georges St. Pierre at UFC 124 for the UFC Welterweight Championship. UFC 124 was heavily hyped due to Josh's well-known animosity towards St. Pierre, stemming from his loss by decision in their fight at UFC 74. St. Pierre utilized his left jab effectively in the bout, winning all rounds to defeat Koscheck 50-45 by unanimous decision. Koscheck suffered a broken orbital bone on the right side of his face during the fight with St. Pierre. Unable to fly because of air pockets that formed around Koscheck's right eye, the UFC arranged for him and his trainer to drive to Boston, where Koscheck received the corrective surgery. Post-title shot, Koscheck defeated former UFC welterweight champion Matt Hughes on September 24, 2011 at UFC 135 via KO in the first round, replacing an injured Diego Sanchez. Koscheck was expected to face Carlos Condit on February 4, 2012 at UFC 143. However, on December 7, 2011, it was revealed Georges St-Pierre had sustained ACL injury to his left knee and the injury would sideline him for around 10 months, forcing him out of his scheduled bout with Nick Diaz. Condit and Diaz faced each other at the event with the winner crowned interim UFC welterweight champion, while Koscheck faced Mike Pierce at the event. He won the fight via split decision. Koscheck then faced Jimi Hendrix on May 5, 2012 at UFC on Fox 3. He lost the fight via split decision. Koscheck was expected to face Jake Ellenberger on September 1, 2012 at UFC 151. However, Koscheck pulled out of the bout citing a back injury. Koscheck faced returning veteran Robbie Lawler on February 23, 2013 at UFC 157. Lawler defeated Koscheck via first-round TKO. Koscheck was expected to face Demian Maia on August 3, 2013 at UFC 163. However, Koscheck was forced out of the bout with an injury and as a result, Maia was pulled from the card as well. Koscheck next faced Tyron Woodley at UFC 167 on November 16, 2013. He lost the fight via knockout in the first round. Koscheck was briefly linked to a bout with Neil Magny at UFC 184 on February 28, 2015. However, the pairing was cancelled and Koscheck instead faced Jake Ellenberger at the event. Koscheck lost the fight via submission in the second round. Just 21 days after his loss to Ellenberger, Koscheck replaced an injured Ben Saunders to face Eric Silva on March 21, 2015 at UFC Fight Night 62. Koscheck lost the fight by submission in the first round. Bellator MMA on June 26, 2015, it was announced that Koscheck signed a multi-year deal with Bellator MMA. Championships and awards. Collegiate Wrestling National Collegiate Athletic Association NCAA Division I All-American Art of Edinburgh University, NCAA Division I 174 1B. 4th place out of Edinburgh University, NCAA Division I 174 1B, runner-up out of Edinburgh University, NCAA Division I 174 1B, champion out of Edinburgh University, NCAA Division I 174 1B, 3rd place out of Edinburgh University. As a senior at Waynesburg Central High School, Koscheck finished second in the 1997 Pennsylvania State Wrestling Championships. In 2001, he went 42-0 and was the NCAA Division I national champion in the 174-pound weight class. Koscheck was also a 4-time Division I All-American and the 11th 4-time Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference champion. He was honored as the PSAC Wrestler of the Year 3 times and was twice named the Eastern Wrestling League Wrestler of the Year. Mixed Martial Arts Ultimate Fighting Championship, Knockout of the Night, Submission of the Night, Fight of the Night. Mixed Martial Arts Record. See also: List of current Bellator fighters, List of male mixed martial artists. References. External links: Official UFC profile, Professional MMA record for Josh Koscheck from Sherdog, Koscheck's profile at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.